All right, back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing yet another beer from Brewery Ommegang, and they're out of Cooperstown, New York, and this is their Double Chocolate Three Philosophers. So they're calling this one a blend of quadruple ale and Kriek ale with cacao nibs, and also on their website they say they are also brewing this one with vanilla, so I just want to point that out. It comes in at 9.7% alcohol by volume, 21 IBUs, and at the time of review, this bottle is exactly 1 year old. So I saw this one recently at AJ's Beer Warehouse in Henrietta, New York, just outside of Rochester. And the reason I picked this one up is because it was almost a year old. And I was like, I'm going to review that one right at the 1 year mark. And it has a Best By date of December 3rd, 2021 and a bottle on date of December 3rd, 2020. So they put a year on this one. And today, as I'm reviewing it, is December 3rd of 2021. I don't know when you'll see this one, maybe in like early 2022, but yeah, it's a year old. So that's why I picked it up. They're also using, I think it's pronounced Taza Chocolate. And I believe they're like a organic chocolate producer in Massachusetts. I forgot exactly where, but yeah, that's what they're using here chocolate-wise. And like I said, they are brewing this one vanilla according to their website. It says brew the cacao nibs and vanilla on the website. They don't say it on the bottle. Don't know why, but totally says it on the website, so we're going to believe what the website says. A lot of times the labels, they just don't tell the whole story, you know? It's just how it is. Anyway, hashtag proper glassware. Now, I've reviewed quite a few different Three Philosophers on the channel. I actually, decently carbonated. For one of my milestone reviews, it was either like 700, 800, or 900th review. I actually did a three-way comparison between this, not this beer specifically, but base Three Philosophers, bourbon barrel aged Three Philosophers, and wine barrel aged Three Philosophers. It was a fantastic time. Then a little bit after that, I did their blueberry coffee Three Philosophers. Did not enjoy it. I feel like the adjuncts kind of took over. So here, I feel like the chocolate will accentuate the base beer a little bit more because sometimes I get like darker chocolate in Three Philosophers. So I feel that is going to be more appropriate as far as an adjunct goes. So there is, you're not going to see it on camera, but there is a shit ton of fine sediment in here. And I didn't roll it or do anything. So there's a crap ton of fine sediment. That is really nice. On camera, it's going to be darker, like a darker, maybe deep red or maybe brown color. In person, it has a mahogany, almost like rust color to it. But, it's murky, turbid. It has about a finger and a half, almost 2 fingers. Yeah, we'll say about a finger and a half of a straight up tan, almost khaki colored head. Looks soap sudsy. Big bubbles, small bubbles, medium-sized bubbles, the whole nine. But yeah, I wish you guys could see it because I'm holding it in the light and there's just chunks everywhere. But it has a Best By date of December 3rd, 2021. We're right at that date. Tomorrow, this is going to be garbage. Just remember that. Let's get nose. Okay, so this is very akin to base Three Philosophers, but like a kick of like straight up sweet dark chocolate. Yeah, so you can tell that this is a Belgian beer because it has that Belgian yeast like spiciness to it. Like that, I think the spiciness is more of like a phenolic thing as opposed to an ester. But there's a ton of sweet dried fruit. So raisins, dates, figs, things of that nature. Dried cherry, sweet, or even black cherry, but like a sweet dried cherry. The chocolate is there. It's more of like a dark chocolate, a sweeter dark chocolate, or a lower percentage like cacao bar, like a 40 or 50% cacao bar, not that bitter. That vanilla is a little bit like a kiss of vanilla in the nose, but I feel like sometimes I get vanilla. Like every time I have Three Philosophers, it changes depending on how old it is, what the vintage is. I always feel like I get a little bit of vanilla in Three Philosophers, just a touch, just a skosh. Not a lot of bitterness to speak of. Ooh, when I went back right there, dried cherry all day long in that little whiff right there. Yeah, so I don't know how much the chocolate is playing a role here. Certainly after a year, it might have died out. I didn't have this one fresh because when they released this one fresh, which would have probably been late 2020, early 2021, my channel was on hiatus and I wasn't drinking beer. I was going through some, health issues and whatnot. So I didn't get a chance to try this fresh, but I will say aged, it smells really good, but does it smell that distinctive to be like a separate like variant? I don't know. Like if I was doing this blind, I would just be like, this is a Belgian quad or strong dark. That's what I would be saying. But it smells really good. It smells sweet, but not like overly so. I feel like those dried fruit characters are more akin to what I typically get in a beer like this. Now a little bit of caramelized sugar, brown sugar. toffee maybe. Yeah, as it starts to open. So they say drink at 50% or serve at 50%. 50 degrees, not 50%. That's fucking what this review is 50% of good. Drink at 50 Fahrenheit. This is probably more in like the 55 range. But yeah, it's starting to open up quite a bit. So I'm going to get into it because not much more I can say about the nose. So cheers, everyone. It's really nice. It's basically Three Philosophers at the core, but with like a hint of like a bittering chocolate. Body this one's higher side of medium, low, full. Almost 10%, so I'm cool with that. Maybe a little bit more body would be nice, but I'm fine with where it's at. The mouthfeel, it's carbonated, but it's so smooth and creamy. Like when you wrestle up the head, that just looks like it's going to be a creamy beer in my opinion. Alcohol legs all over the place, but yeah, the body mouthfeel really nice. The taste, it's basically a Belgian quad through and through. Right at the forefront, lots of caramelized sugar, caramel, toffee, maybe a touch of butterscotch. There's a big bready component too from the base malt. Right after that, it's all the dried fruit you've ever wanted, or maybe you never wanted, but I enjoy it. It's raisin, dried cherry, I would say more of like a fig than a date, but it's those typical Belgian quad, like dried fruit characters that you would get. And they're pronounced. They're probably the predominant note on the palate, like even on the finish, as I'm sitting here, after, taking a sip where 10, 15 seconds ago, that's lingering on the palate. About 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the palate, there's this nice spicy phenolic kind of yeast sensation that hits. If I was trying to do this as a blind beer, I'd say almost cinnamon-esque. Maybe cinnamon, maybe allspice, something like that. There's also a baker's chocolate, or more of like on the nose, it was sweet, like dark chocolate. In the taste, it's more of like a bittering cacao nib or baker's chocolate, something like that. Like if I said, like compared it to a cacao bar that was like 70, 80% cacao, yeah, totally. It has all the chocolate character that you would want, but without a substantial sweetness. And that's kind of what hits like right after those dried fruits and right before the yeast, the spiciness from the yeast hits. Finish is very mildly bitter, not much bitter to speak of, but it has a semi to full-on dry finish. So while there's a lot of malt sweetness and those dried fruits, I think the cacao nibs kind of stop it from being too sweet, but then also the semi to full-on dry finish kind of balances out. This is actually quite balanced. Sweet up front, dry on the back end with a little mild bitterness. I will say, again, they don't say vanilla on the label, but on their website, they say it's brewed with vanilla as well. I'm not really getting vanilla in the taste. I was getting that more in the nose, but not in the taste at all. 9.7%, you can tell it's a bigger beer. I'm getting a little bit of warming into the chest and the stomach. I would guess probably 9% if I was doing this blind, kind of knowing what I'm drinking. But the alcohol is not astringent on the palate. Doesn't get in the way. Doesn't step on anybody's toes. I'm going to pour the rest in here. I'm going to pour some in here, and then I'm going to see if there's any yeast on the bottom. We'll do a little bit of shake and give it one more final pour. Like I said, there was a shit ton of sediment already. So could be the chocolate, could be the proteins, whatever the case may be. Let's see. Yeah, it's so fine though. Like, let's go one more sip and then we'll rate it. Pouring it in just gave it a little more of like a creamy sensation on the palate, but didn't do much from like a flavor standpoint. So I think this is really nice. It's pretty well balanced. I do get the chocolate, albeit more of like a darker, like bittersweet, or baker's chocolate, something in that realm. So it's not, if you pick this one up, then you're gonna get like sweet chocolate. I'm not really getting it out of the palate, and the nose is more sweet chocolate, sweet dark chocolate. But this is basically Three Philosophers with a kiss of bittering chocolate. That's what I'm getting from it. And I've always enjoyed Three Philosophers. It's not like my favorite quad, but I do enjoy it. I think I always give it like a 4 out of 5 on Untappd. So this is definitely better than that blueberry coffee variant, but I don't think it's as good as the base Three Philosophers or the either of the bourbon barrel or wine barrel. I think, I forget which is my favorite between the two. I think either the wine or bourbon. I can't remember. I'll say it's the wine. I don't know. I don't remember. I have to go look at my reviews. I should do that before I do these reviews. But As is, I have no problems giving the double chocolate Three Philosophers from Ommegang. From Ommegang. I'm going to give this a straight 4 out of 5. Not much more I can say about this one. It's a good, well-made Belgian-style quad. I think those sweeter, like dried cherry characters are coming from the Kriek. They mix this with Leafman's, I believe, Kriek. I think it's only like 5% of the beer or something like that. But I think at the end of the day, what you get with this beer is kind of what I expected. But if you think this is going to be like a sweeter chocolate kind of kick to the face, it's not it. So, good. I'll have no problem drinking the rest of that. Really tasty beer. Price and availability, I believe I paid just under $4 for that bottle. In my neck of the woods, it was $15 to $16 a 4-pack for a 9.7% Belgian quad with cacao nibs and vanilla. Under $4 a bottle is pretty fucking good. And availability, wherever you see Ommegang, you should have seen this one. If you see a random straggler on the shelf of your local bottle shop and you're like kind of curious about it, grab it. Why not? Especially if it's only like less than $4 a bottle. If you have to buy an entire 4-pack, probably not. But if you could buy singles, I would definitely give this one a go. Just see what you think about, especially if you like Three Philosophers or any of the variants. I think this is a fun one to try. I will say at the end of the day, I like the barrel-aged Three Philosophers better than the 2 variants I had with adjuncts in them. I just think that beer lends itself more towards the barrels than it does adjuncts, because I think there's enough going on in the base Three Philosophers that doesn't really need chocolate or blueberry coffee or whatever. But I will still always try the variants because you never know what will blow you away. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. Like I said, if you had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Post in the comment section. I'd be curious if somebody who had this fresh, let me know how big the chocolate component was in it, because I didn't have a chance to try it fresh, and I feel like the chocolate component might be a little bit more prevalent in a fresh bottle of this at the 1-year mark, which they say Best Buy, December 3rd of 2021. It's kind of muted. It's there, but slightly. So anyway, to the next one. Cheers.